Hello students, and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of English. In the previous lecture, we had started with chapter number 3 of the supplementary reader, that is Footprints Without Feet. Name of the chapter is The Midnight Visitor, written by Robert Arthur. Students, we have already discussed in the starting lectures that there are two books. Still, there are lots of students who are not clear with the idea. Students, there are two books. One book is the main book, which is called First Flight. There are 11 chapters and 10 poems in it. Whereas the other book, the name of the book is Footprints Without Feet. It is a supplementary reader and it has 10 chapters. So there are two different books in the syllabus. From the First Flight, we have already completed 4 chapters, starting from chapter number 1, Letter to God, coming up to the 4th chapter, that is Diary of Anne Frank. In the supplementary reader, we have already completed 2 chapters from Footprints Without Feet, and this is the 3rd chapter of that book. Now let us take a quick recap of what we have learnt in the previous lecture for chapter number 3 of Footprints Without Feet. Name of the chapter is The Midnight Visitor. The name of the chapter is The Midnight Visitor, written by Robert Arthur. Up till now, we have learned that Fowler, who is a young writer, he had the opportunity to be with Ausable, who is a secret agent, be with him for some time so that he can know more about secret agents. The information will be very useful for him in writing whatever he writes, that is either novels, maybe some articles for newspapers, magazines. To better get acquainted with the topic or with the subject that he is going to write on, he needs a first-hand experience. So that is why he got and grabbed the opportunity to be with a secret agent for some time. That is, that secret agent is Ausable. Up till now, whatever picture he had in his mind about secret agents is what he had read from newspapers or magazines or novels or movies. That is the picture that he had in mind, that these secret agents, they are tall, handsome, muscular, carrying weapons, and they always live in danger. The stunts that are shown in the movies done by the secret agents, so that is the picture he has in mind about secret agent. But when he meets Ausable, it's totally opposite. Ausable is a very fat person, and he wonders how such a fat person can be a secret agent. Ausable informs him that he is going to get an important paper which is going to change the course of history of the country. That much importance that paper has, and lots of people have risked their lives so that the paper reaches Ausible and hence to the secret services so that they can be well prepared to fight against the enemies. So they meet for a while at a public place, and the meeting is set when the paper is to be delivered to Ausible. The paper will be delivered where Ausible has taken a rented room in a hotel. So they move out from the place of meeting, that is a music hall, and they go towards the hotel. Ausible has rented a room on the topmost floor, that is the 6th floor of the hotel, and they climb all the way to the top using the staircase. When they come onto the 6th floor, Ausible opens the door with the key and allows his guest, that is Fowler, to enter first. So Fowler enters first, then Ausible enters and closes the door and switches on the light. As soon as he switches on the light, they see that halfway across the room, a person is standing with a gun pointed towards them. Up till now, Fowler did not have any real action, and he was wondering how these secret agents work. But now he is into real action when a gun is pointed directly at him. He just stands there, speechless, motionless, and Ausible also looks at the person who is holding the gun towards them. Up till here, we have learnt in the previous lecture. So now, let us go ahead with today's lecture. Students, lots of things are not written. We have to understand them. So whenever you are reading the text, go slow so that you can understand what is written in between the lines so that the concept is clear. Ausible blinked a few times. "Max," he wheezed, "you gave me quite a start. I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room?" So we know both of them entered the room, and then Ausible, he switched on the lights, and Fowler, of course, is panic-stricken, shocked to see a man pointing gun at him. So he is speechless, motionless, and he's quite scared. Ausible, on the other hand, he is quite an experienced secret agent, a spy. He is blinking. Now, what is the meaning of blinking over here? It has two meanings. First, they have climbed the stairs, and Ausible, being too fat, is still out of breath. So he's still catching his breath. Second, they come through the stairs corridor which is very dimly lit. When they enter the room and Ausible switches on the light, it's quite bright. So from a dim light you come to bright light. Automatically the eye winks for a few times so that the eyes get adjusted to the bright light. So that is why he is continuously opening and closing his eyelids so that he gets adjusted to the bright light. Second, he also sees that in his room is a man standing in the center of the room, holding and pointing a gun at him. Now, there are two people towards whom the gun is being pointed. One is Fowler, another is Ausible. But the way these people look, view, focus, that is quite different. Fowler is more focused on the gun rather than the face of the person. First thing is, he has one look at the person. He knows that this is a complete stranger. I don't know this man. He is more worried about the gun because guns usually are not pointed at him ever. So he is more afraid of the gun. On the other hand, Ausable, he is a seasoned and an experienced spy, so he is not worried about the gun. He has seen lots of guns in his life. Lots of guns have been pointed towards him. He has been fired upon by people with guns. So guns, bullets, it's not a surprise for him. The surprise is the person. So Fowler is looking at the gun, but Ausable is more interested in the face of the person. So one person is looked at by two people, but both of them, their focuses are different. Now, Ausable blinks rapidly. First thing, he has to adjust to the light. He has seen the face of the man and trying to recognize him. He recognizes him in a very, very short time because instantly he says the name. Yes, it's Max. Only thing is, what is Max doing in this room which was locked from outside? So we see the speed at which the mind of a spy runs. It's just pacing at high speed. He adjusts his eyes to the bright light in the room. At the same time, he comes to know that a gun is pointed towards him. At the same time, he is also looking at the face and trying to recognize him. He recognizes very sharply the person who is holding the gun. And now he has to take hold of the situation because a gun is pointed towards him. And there is the presence of an innocent man who has nothing to do with this affair. So his mind is racing at great speed and he has to handle the situation. Students, you see that most of what we just discussed is not written in the text. That means we have to think back. When we read a line, we have to think back of the situation that is being flashed in front of us, and then we have to think about things that are not written in that line. That is called true reading, and that makes reading more interested. Otherwise, it's just a line, you read it, and what will be the response? What will be your reaction? Oh, it's a boring story, not much interested, I'll write all the answers. But when I ask a question, I don't get proper answer because that afterthought, after reading a particular line, has not been given by you. So you should always read the text thoroughly. This is the meaning of thoroughly. Read a line, think what is the meaning of this line. Why is this line written in the text? Each and every word, each and every line in the text has some importance. Only thing is, we have to make sure we understand the correct meaning of that sentence. Now it's written, he wheezed. We should understand that he is still heavily breathing. So whenever he speaks, a whistle comes out. So that is the meaning of wheezed. Wheezed, spoke. But here it means that taking in of the breath is going on very fast. At the same time, coming out of the words is also coming very fast. So that whistling sound does come when a person is out of breath and trying to speak at the same time. Now he says, you gave me quite a start. Quite a start? Here, a total surprise. You gave me quite a start. That means you have totally surprised me. I thought you were in Berlin. Berlin? It's in Germany. What are you doing here in my room? That means this room, this hotel, this city is not in Germany. They are out of Germany. Now, put the things that you learned from this paragraph in a line. Oswald blinks a few times and he recognizes the man, Max. That means he knows the man. More important, he also knows at this time where should Max be. That is very, very important. That means either they belong to the same country. That shows that Oswald is a very seasoned and experienced spy. He knows which spy is at which location and in which country. That means Oswald is well informed. Now we do not know right now whether Max belongs to the same country that Oswald belongs to, or maybe Max is an opponent. In spy work, you need to know both the things. You need to know your own country's agents as well as you need to know the other country's agents also. You should be aware of this information. So here it means that Oswald is well informed about where Max should have been right now, but what surprises him is Max is standing in front of him in this hotel in his room and he's pointing a gun at him. So now let us learn about Max. First comes the physical description. Max was slender. Slender means tall, a little bit thin and tall. So Max was slender. That means he was thin, he was tall. A little less than tall. That means an average tall person. Of course, compared to Oswald, Oswald will be fat because then he is short also. So compared to him, Max will be tall, but little less than tall, with features that suggested slightly the crafty, pointed countenance of a fox. Now, what is a fox famous for? Fox is usually called cunning. For cunningness, you have to be crafty. What is the meaning of crafty? You should have that talent and skill where you can craft or make up something that is going to fool someone and make him fall into your trap. Fox is cunning, and that is why he is called cunning, because fox can easily fool small animals and allow them to fall into its trap. So countenance means the appearance of the face. So here what the author has cleverly described the face of Max. He is tall, thin and tall, that is slender, a little less than tall, not exactly tall, but the main thing is the face. The face reveals features that are exactly like a cunning fox. So by looking at Max, we can say that he is a very cunning fellow. So beware of this person, might lead you into a trap. So he has the countenance, the appearance of just like a fox. That means appearance, the face appears as if cunningness is shown all over the face. There was about him, then a dash is given to specify aside from the gun, then again a dash. So we should read it like this: there was about him nothing especially menacing. Menacing, causing nuisance. That means he was not at all looking dangerous aside from the gun. Because he has a gun in his hand right now, he looks dangerous, but if you take away the gun from him, he is not at all dangerous. So that is the level of the spy Ozable is facing. So there was nothing menacing, there was nothing naughty, nuisance-like, apart from the gun that he was holding in his hand. He was just a normal person. Nothing much to say about him. Now we get some dialogue from Max. What does he say? The report, he murmured. He is speaking in a soft voice because the voice should not go beyond the room. So he's murmuring, speaking a very soft voice, just two people standing in front of him can hear. The report is being brought to you tonight concerning some new missiles. I thought I would take it from you. It would be safer in my hands than in yours. Looking at this paragraph, it looks as if Max and Ozable belong to the same country. That means they are doing the spying work for the same country. But there is a competition over here. Ozable was supposed that he was going to get some important documents. Now we know what are those documents, what that document contains. It contains important missiles. It contains important information about the new missiles that are developed by the opposite country or the enemy country. That information is very, very necessary for their country so that they are able to ready themselves, because the enemy country is going to make these new missiles. They should be ready to defend their country. Now here what we see is competition. So these things are not written over here. We have to understand it from the words that are given over here. That report will be more safer in my hands than yours. That means both of them belong to the same country. They are doing that spying work for the same country. They are citizens of the same country. They are into that secret service, the same country. But here we see competition. One is going to receive information about new missiles of the enemy country. Max somehow comes to know that the report or the information on the new missiles are going to be delivered to Ozable. That is the reason why he is in Ozable's room. He even knows that the information is going to be given to Ozable in his room, delivered to his room. So whenever Ozable receives the report, because Max has a gun in his hand, is quite ready, he is going to take away the report, and then the report will become his. Now whoever presents that report to the country, of course the report belongs to him. So this much we have to understand from this paragraph. So the report that is being brought to you tonight, it concerns about information about some new missiles, and I thought I would better take it from you, because in my hands it will be more safer. That is what is the opinion of Max, that he is more superior to Ozable in handling these things than in your hands. Now let us see what Ozable is doing and what is the meaning of that. Reading slowly so that you can capture what is being said. Ozable moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. This one sentence will tell you lots of things. A gun pointed towards you tells you not to move. A gun pointed towards you tells you to raise your hands in the air. You make one false move, the other person is going to shoot you. That is the meaning. Here, Ozable is least afraid of the gun that is in the hands of Max. Because when somebody is pointing a gun at you, you do according to what is told to you. Max has not ordered Ozable to sit in the chair, whereas Ozable is least bothered about the gun, He's least bothered that Max is going to shoot him, and without being afraid of Max or his gun, he goes to a chair and he throws himself into the chair loudly, that is heavily. And then he starts the conversation trying to divert the attention of the person holding gun in his hand. I am going to raise the devil with the management this time, and you can bet on it. He not only sits in the chair without being asked or ordered, he starts speaking without being ordered. He says that I am going to raise the devil. That means I am going to fight with the management of the hotel for such lousiness, for such kind of nuisance that has happened over here. Raise the devil is a phrase that means I'm going to create lots of commotion. I'm going to take up a fight with the management of the hotel this time, and you can bet on it. That means you can be very sure that this time I'm going to fight with the management of the hotel like anything. He said grimly, sadly. This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of a balcony. We already discussed that Ausable is quite an experienced, seasoned spy. His mind works at great speed. So here we see his mind working. Now he starts conversation without being asked. He is trying to trap Max in his words. So he starts the conversation saying that he wants to take up a fight with the management of the hotel, because this is not the first time that somebody has entered my room without permission. This is the second time, and that also in 1 month, that this thing has happened, and it should not happen. When I leave the room, I lock the door. That means no one should enter my room. This is the second time somebody has entered my room without my permission, and this nuisance has been caused by the balcony. Fowler's eyes went to the single window of the room. Now we have the third person present over here, that is Fowler. As soon as the mention of balcony is there, Fowler looks at the window, because after window the balcony should be there, but he cannot see anything outside the balcony because it's already night and everything is dark outside. It was an ordinary window of usual height, against which now the night was pressing blackly. That means totally blackness was outside the window. It was completely dark. You cannot see anything outside the window. Anyway, the window should have been closed, and right now also it is closed. So apart from the dark outside, you cannot see anything. Even if the balcony was there, balcony has a railing, that also cannot be seen because of the darkness, because the night has already set in. So Fowler's eyes move from the gun pointed towards him to the window. After the window, beyond the window should be the balcony, but he sees only darkness which is pressing hard against the window. Now Ausable has started laying the trap, and Max is very swiftly falling into the trap. And anyway, we should remember that the report is to be delivered in the room of Max. Right now, it is quite early, because Ausable has come early so that he can wait for the report. So there is lots of time. Balcony, Max said. with a rising inflection. Max stresses the word inflection. There is a change in the word, spelling of the word, rising in inflection with a little bit raised surprise. Balcony. That means he did not know about the existence of the balcony. That means he entered the room through the door. See, students, I told you we have to be very careful when we are reading. Before going ahead to the next sentence, we should understand what is being said in the present sentence. Balcony, Max said, with a rising inflection. That means he did not enter this room through the balcony. He came through the door. Now the key was with Ozable. That means he entered the room with a duplicate key, or he picked the lock. That means he had a skeleton key which changes the gears of the lock and the lock is opened. So he said, balcony. No, a passkey. That means a passkey, that skeleton key which works with usually all the locks. So a passkey. I did not know about the balcony. So the trap is set. Ozable also very well is aware that there is no way, because spies, when they take these rented rooms, they make sure that can the room be accessed through balcony, pipes, etc. So he knows that there is no other way to enter a sixth room at sixth floor, because literally there is no other entry from the outside, direct from the building, outside of the building. So there is only one way, and his mind raced, and he knew very well that Max must have entered through the door. That is how he starts laying the trap. No, a passkey. I did not know about the balcony. I did not know about the balcony. That shows that Max is not that much smart that he thinks himself of. If he very well knew that Ozable's room is on the sixth floor, then he should have done a little bit research before entering the hotel to see if the room had any balcony or not. That means Max is not as smart as he thinks. That means he straight away walked into the hotel knowing that Ozable is not there. He simply walked into the hotel, climbed the stairs and went to the sixth floor. With the help of a passkey, he opened the door and he's inside. That means he did not do any homework before entering Ozable's room. It might have saved me some trouble had I known. Now what is this trouble? Now when you enter any hotel, there is a reception. At the reception, the receptionist, when she sees a strange person, because at the reception, they are familiar with the people who are living in the hotel. And what Ozable said, that he had been living there for a month. That means even the receptionists, if they are working in shifts, then also all of the receptionists, they know Ozable very, very well. They know most of the guests very, very well. So if a strange person enters, the reception is shortly going to ask the purpose for entering the building. So first thing is, Max has to be very sure that reception does not notice he's coming into the hotel and directly has to climb the stairs go to the 6th floor, then he has to do lots of hard work for opening the lock. So that is what Max is saying. If I knew, that means first thing is he did not do any homework, did any research on Ausable, the hotel there he was staying. So Max says that if I knew there was a balcony, then I would have straight away climbed anyhow and come into the room through the balcony rather than allowing everybody to see my face who has entered the hotel and who has left the hotel. Then Max is identified. Now if Ausable knows Max, then he also knows that Max is not a very good spy. So now he widens his trap. It's not my balcony. He's trying to keep Max engaged in some sort of conversation and start Max to deal with imagination so that he can easily trap Max. It's not my balcony, Ausable said with extreme irritation. Now Ausable even brings actual reaction on his face because his story has to be convincing so that Max falls into his trap. It belongs to the next apartment. That means the next room. Balcony actually belongs to the next room. Now, he is addressing this conversation to Fowler rather than Max. He wants Max to think it is quite natural whatever he is speaking is true. So here he is trying to explain these things to Fowler rather than Max, so that Max, his mind keeps engaged in whatever thoughts that are provided by, ideas that are provided by Ausable. It belongs to the next apartment. He glanced explanatorily at Fowler, explanatory with giving some explanation. You see, he said, this room used to be part of a large unit. That means earlier this was quite a huge hall, but then hotel people must have taken over it and then made a partition and made that large hall into 2 rooms. So the balcony, actually the door of the balcony, the door which leads to the balcony, that actually falls in the previous room. I do not have any door to give me access to the balcony. That means only one door leads to the balcony and that is the previous room. I just have a window which opens up onto the balcony. That means if I step out of the balcony, step out of the window, I will be in a balcony which belongs to the previous room. So this room used to be a part of large unit and the next room through that door there used to be the living room. This was actually quite a big hall. Now they have made partition and that is where they lived originally. So they had a door. Now that door to the balcony went to the previous room. I do not have any door which leads to the balcony. It had the balcony which extends under my window now. I just have a window outside where is a balcony which belongs to the previous room because the door to the entry to the balcony is the previous room. You can get onto it from the empty rooms 2 doors down. And somebody did last month. The management promised to block it off, but they haven't. That means in my room there is no door which leads to the balcony. I cannot step out into the balcony because there is no door. If I want to go to the balcony, then the door to the balcony is 2 rooms ahead from that is where you can access the balcony. I just have a window which opens up out on the balcony. So previously also somebody entered. That means Ausable's room, his previous room and the one ahead of the previous room, 2 doors back. From that room somebody entered through the door onto the balcony and then entered my room. And I got mad, and the management of the hotel assured me that they will have a partition made in the balcony so that nobody enters my room. But it seems they have not done any change. They have not blocked that door or the entrance to the balcony. Now, Ozable had been doing that explanation looking at Fowler. That means he was talking to Fowler. He was not actually telling all those things to Max. Actually, he was telling all these things to Max, but he was addressing Fowler. Max glanced at Fowler, who was standing stiffly not far from Ozable, and then he waved the gun with a commanding gesture. "Please sit down," he said. "We have a wait of half an hour, I think." So now Max looks at Fowler, who is still rigid, stuck to his place, not moving also, because the gun is pointed towards him. So Max, he waves the gun towards a seating place, maybe a chair, and asks very gently, "Please take a seat. We have to wait for at least half an hour before the report arrives. So we'll have to wait. Until then, sit where you're standing." 31 minutes, Ozable said moodily. Moodily, he says, moodily, that means very leisurely, he says, "It's not half an hour. It is 31 minutes exact. If you are a spy, each and every second counts." So he clarifies himself. He says the appointment was for 12:30, that is midnight. "I wish I knew how you learned about the report, Max." Now he is again trying to divert the attention of Max. First, that balcony was just a slight deviation to deviate his mind. Now comes another deviation, that is, he wants to know because somebody has betrayed and told Max. That is how Max comes to know, because then it's the duty of Ozable to know where the leakage of the information happened, who betrayed him, and now Max is also knowing that such and such report is going to come. So the report is exactly going to come in 12:30, that means 31 minutes from now. So he also knows, Max also knows the time of the report. That is where Ozable is puzzled. How did he know that still half an hour is there till the report? That means he knows everything. That means someone has betrayed Ozable. The little spy smiled evilly, with an evil smile. "Yes, I know everything. Yes, and we wish we knew how your people got the report. But no harm has been done. I'll get it back tonight. What is that? Who is at the door?" So somehow the information had leaked, and so Max knows. Here the little spy is not Ozable, it is Max, because he has a gun in his hand and he has the information when the report will be delivered and what is in that report. So he is telling Ozable that we wish we knew how your people got hold of the information about all this, but no harm done. Today, when the report will be delivered to you, I'll get it back. So nothing to worry about. All of a sudden, there is noise outside the door. So he's asking a question. What is that? Who is at the door? Fowler jumped at the sudden knocking at the door. Now this was a disturbance. Up till now, Fowler was very much shocked at the reception he had while entering the room. There is a man pointing gun at him, whole of his body, as if the blood circulation has stopped. He is just stuck over there, totally motionless. He jumped up. all of a sudden jerking out of his place, the knock of the door at the door. Oswald just smiled. Oswald knew something, so he just smiled, and now he's trying again to divert the attention of Max. Oswald just smiled. That will be the police, he said. I thought that such an important paper as the one we are waiting for should have a little extra protection. I told them to check on me to make sure everything was all right. So Oswald says, after the knocking happened at the door, he said that must be the police, because I told the police to give me protection while I'm going to receive that information, just to be sure that nothing harms me, nobody harms me, or the information is also not harmed, the paper reaches me in a good state, and the person who has to bring that paper, his safety and security also is of great concern. So I have kept the police well informed, and I asked the police to keep on a regular check until I get the report, whatever I want. Until I get that, keep on checking on me so that everything is okay. So that must be the police to whom I have told to keep on checking on me till everything is okay. I should have some extra little protection. I told them to check on me to make sure that everything was alright. So you see, students, today what we have learned is reading in between lines. When we are reading, we should not read at such a fast pace that we just read the words and go ahead. We should stop and ponder and should try to think what or in which direction the author wants to lead us. What is actually not written over that, but what is actually meant by the author. What is unwritten but should be read by us, even if it is not written. So this is called reading in between lines. By reading the lines, we should be able to understand what is written in between those lines, which is hidden. If you just straight away read the words and go ahead, it will be of no use. So students, whenever we are reading something for the first time, don't go at great speed unless you just want to finish the novel or whatever you are reading. You just want to finish it for the sake of reading it. Yes, I have read it, but actually you have not understood the complete plot of the novel or the complete essence of the story. You didn't even know where the author was pointing at. You just read the words, you just understood the story on a whole, but you did not understand the whole story. So, students, a very good advice today. Whenever you are reading anything for the first time, including the question that is asked in the paper of mathematics, when you are reading it for the first time, go slow, so that you understand what is being said, what is being asked, and what are you supposed to do. The same thing applies in English also. What are you reading? What does it mean to say? What is it pointing at, and what you should understand? So students, we stop over here for the day. You will get the regular assignment along with this video, a PDF, so that you can complete the assignment and submit. Thank you, students.